Beloved star, warmest welcome to Elven Pod 84. And in the now, that which is calling really strongly, we are at the time of the new moon. It's the new rose moon of the Elven. And so we stand at a beginning. We stand at an energetic threshold. We've been through a mighty shift and anchoring of something extraordinary. And we have generated what is if you like, I saw the words day zero written over yesterday, and then today is day one. So the inception point of a new embodied experience and possibility for ourselves. And that is the expression, the embodied expression of our angelic mission. And whether you're feeling really aligned with that right now, and that instantly you just feel that yes, or whether that actually feels quite far away, I just love to be able to speak to both places, because they're both all of us, if you like. We all have moments where we may experience one or the other, but they're just different sides of the same consciousness. And you know, even when you're not aligned, there's that part of you that knows that you are, that somewhere you are. It's just that your conscious levels aren't synchronized with that. But the knowing is there. The knowing is there. And those deeper currents, everything that's real for you, everything that is vaster and more meaningful and makes sense of everything that unfolds is still there for you. You just can't directly perceive it, can't bring it into the direct connection in that moment. And it's so true. It always is. It always is there. It's always still in unfoldment. But what's so beautiful, obviously, I think for most of us, we prefer the times when we're fully synchronized, when that's actually an embodied experience. It's not seen through a veil. It's not seen through a glass darkly, as it were, but we're having the experience. We're having the experience of that angelic level of reality, if you like. And by that, I don't mean floating off the earth. I mean that embodied angel, that one who is the light of source, the light of I am immortal starlight presence, really walking here in the heart of that earth life, in the heart of our earth world, from within this depth of multidimensional presence, which is so natural to us. It's so natural. And that's what we're opening up into. That's what we're restoring. That's what we're returning. And often our really foggy times when we're really disconnected, where we lose the thread of that, is because of it, because we have gone through some huge shift that is taking us into that. We've melted something, we've dissolved something, we've really alchemized or migrated some profound level of our expression and our experience, melting the separation, melting the part of us that has forgotten, that's forgotten who we are. And our fogginess actually comes from the measure of the shifts that we are accomplishing, and that as we reconfigure through that, we have actualized a new greater percentage of the part of us that is experiencing this angelic embodied presence on earth, just knowing who we are, not forgetting, walking in the knowing, loving all the levels of our existence, loving all of them, all the, you know, from the most mundane levels of experience and perception right the way through to the most sublime, that they're just in an interplay, a natural interplay through us. And so we get there, we get to that place where a greater, to give it that metaphor, like a bigger percentage of you is now there because of the shift, because of the alchemy that you've made. A bigger percentage of you is now available for that experience. And that's what they're saying now. That's where we are. And what's really important is that kind of shift point when we do a big release or when we do a big alchemization, that we do make our way all the way back to the potentiality that we're building, that we've grounded. We synchronize all the way back to that we don't get lost on the way back, if you like, not make our way back through the clouds, but we make it all the way back through to the treasure that we've anchored here, which is the fullness and the ever expanding, the ever completing, the ever arriving fullness of our angelic embodied presence here. Knowing, remembering who we are, walking this way. And as they're saying this moon, the fullness of our angelic mission. and our enhanced capacity to be present within that and as that. So the guidance for this moon, though, so how do we make it all the way back? If we need a bit of orientation, if we need a bit of, gosh, how do I come back to the fullness of my alignment and the expanded fullness of my alignment and experience that? And now actually I'm getting this image of walk within the new arcs of experience that are available. So I want to be walking within those new deep and golden arcs of experience that I'm sensing are now available for me. And I want that as an embodied experience. I want that as a whole experience, an emotional experience, a mental experience. I want all my levels, all my bodies to be there, and not to feel like I'm reaching for the stars for a new experience that's so outside of them that it's difficult to sustain. So the how of it in this a special shift. This is being given for us right now, this moon. So the Elven guidance has been for the last wave, the last oak moon, the last lunar cycle, that we've been in this phase of synchronization with the angelic, so that we are experiencing causal and celestial levels of seventh dimensional and beyond consciousness in our bodies, synchronization with them in ways we've never known within our physical consciousness at this level of density before. So it's stunning what we've been doing, what we've been stabilizing into, what we've been synchronizing with. But one of the dangers of that, or one of the potential pitfalls of that expansion, which so many of us may know, is that you can lose your connection to yourself in that. When you expand into the angelic, into the causal celestial dimensions of source, into the oneness, into the vastness, it's like we can become very expanded, we become really vast, and even feel it in our bodies that we're just capable of so much. We can harmonize, we can stabilize, bring through so much, we're connected to so much, we feel that, and we can get very spread out, if you like. You know, our energetic bodies, our beings can become really spread out. And because up until now, what's been difficult for our bodies to sustain is the pull back within the space of that to be in an almost simultaneous awareness of the unique fractal of source you are, that I am immortal starlight presence, and simultaneously to the vastness of the angelic, causal, celestial, and source dimensionality. To be in a simultaneous, almost like an in-breath, out-breath moment of those, pulling all the way back to the unique fractal expression that you are within that. And that we may have got strong at being in that I am presence, but not had the capacity then to be strong in the simultaneous awareness of those expanded myriad fields of our collaboration and co-creation at these highest levels that we've kind of needed. So an analogy that I used in Aurora earlier, it was talking about the gaze. So it's say you've been short-sighted, but you don't have the capacity for long-range vision unless you really strain. You have to really take a moment. There's great effort has to go into it, and your eyes have to go through these phase adjustments so that you can see a bit further ahead of you. And your natural spot is to be able to see close. Well, and it might be the other way around with the vision, easy to see far and not easy to see close. And that to do it, you have to kind of almost like these phase clicks or phase adjustments that have to be made within the eye, within the gaze, within the vision. So that's an analogy for us and our knowing of our own immortal starlight essence, that I am presence, being able to focus into that unique fractal of source light that you are, and be simultaneously almost in-breath, out-breath kind of simultaneity. So you could say one comes after the other, but it's almost as though one is woven within the other also. Simultaneity to the experiencing of this. When we're experiencing in-breath, out-breath, there's not really a linear consciousness with that. So in that same way, we'll get this facility, this moon, the guidance is to be able to move back and forth without those adjustments, without those phase adjusts that make it almost as though there's a bit of strain or effort involved in maintaining that awareness of the unique fractal light of the self, the capital S, at the same time as going into then the expanded awareness of the angelic dimensions, celestial, causal, immortal tree of peace, all those other fractals of source light, radiance, immortal starlight, I am radiance within creation. So we're going to get and of course our souls are that, our soul stars are that simultaneity of awareness always, but it's about our bodies. This year is all about our bodies getting the hang of these highest levels of consciousness. And so within our body, as within the physical eye or the gaze, we'll get that ability to actually adjust back and forth almost instantaneously, to have an effortless movement back and forth between that far vision and that innermost light of that I am. And to be able to thus, within that, so I'm going to share a couple of things as I complete this pod. One is how we go about doing that. I've got one particular tip as we begin this moon of developing this ability to get us going with this. But also why learn to do this? Why learn to do this? And of course, it sounds wonderful. One wouldn't doubt, I would imagine. But I did find myself asking the question, no, I'd love to know specifically, why do I need to learn to do this? And I want to be able to anchor that awareness in me here, not just have a kind of, again, sort of almost a vast, expanded angelic awareness of why that's wonderful, but really, bring it in here. So I'm going to answer that second question first. The reason it's wonderful for us to do this, and we're being guided to do this at this phase of our ascension, is because this year it's all about us coming into co-creation and collaboration now with golden civilisations of and beyond this world that are seventh dimensional and beyond. And so we're being prepared for this collaboration, for this contact, for this communication and co-creation. So that's fascinating, and that's beautiful, and that's exciting. So I'm talking energetic, but of course it will be physical too. This is your angelic kindred who you're here to create with. These are the vast projects, the incredible things you're here to do. This is the collaboration. This is the co-creation. And your ability to be in connection with other amazing souls, amazing beings, amazing people, as well as energies beyond this world, and not lose yourself. Be able to be in there, they're amazing and I'm amazing, simultaneous awareness. That's so important for our seventh dimensional beyond creation. We need to be able to sustain that, not to lose ourselves within the other, and nor to need to, with the remnants of the old narcissistic patternings, that are so universally within the human consciousness in the last cycle, in all different levels of expression. But it's that, oh my gosh, I can't take in the gaze of the wonderfulness out there, because otherwise I've got to stay totally focused on my own amazingness, or I'm going to lose awareness, of myself. And I don't dare lose that, so you're holding on for dear life. Okay, I'm just going to stay focused on my own I am source light. Now, this, obviously, ultimately, they are effortlessly woven with one another, but we're rebuilding, we're restoring, we're recreating an experience here that's never been had at this density. So we will get that capacity and that ability to be able to, you are the amazing you that you are, and really feeling that, and able to take in the full measure of the gaze of just how incredible other beings, the vastness of that which is, and to have an effortless facility, an instantaneity, a simultaneity of awareness and movement within consciousness. We need this function for our next level of what we're creating for the dawn. So this is what's coming in. But to answer, so that's the why it's coming in, and it's probably even that answer, which is huge, as a part of the why. I'm sure we could see it at other levels also, but that's a big part of the why this is coming in. And then there is the how. And the first step they're giving us this moon is really get right back to absolutely follow your intuition closely. What do you need? What do you love? What would you love to call in? What would you love to create? What nourishes you? What are you guided to in all your most unique and idiosyncratic ways? They're like, this is not a time for melting, dissolving, losing your definition of self, giving yourself away to others. You are an amazing point of light that you have won to your side. You're an incredible point of realization within the fields. Don't give this energy away. Don't disappear, don't vanish, don't overextend. Don't go into that angelic vanishing where you kind of overextend into the fields and kind of vanish out into that. This is not the moment for that. This is not the pathway for that energy. Yes, we've got the expanded angelic connection that's going on, and it's incredible, and we're going to continue with that. But at this point, keep building the golden temple. Build the golden temple of presence. Do it in all the small and the great ways. Be different, be difficult, carve your own path, they told me. They were discouraging my Libran tendencies with 5 planets in Libra. But I don't think I'm the only one, and I don't think it requires 5 planets in Libra to be super attuned to others, to the field, to harmonizing it, to being devoted to that, and to lose focus on the self, as it were. And they said to me, okay, so this is like bringing forward. So for me, it's my Aquarius moon. I've got my moon in Aquarius. It's like, bring that forward. You can put the Libras in the drawer for now and bring out that Aquarius moon. Do the idiosyncratic thing, which to me feels like being difficult. It's not really. But if you have this going on too, this kind of patterning, which many of us do with these angelic empathic natures, you feel like you're being difficult when actually you're just being defining. You're just saying, I would love this. I'm going to eat this for dinner instead of, having what everyone else is having. I'm going to go to bed at this time. I need to rest now. Now is when I need to rise. They're speaking of this week. Rest patterns, sleep patterns, diet, what information you're taking in, what sources, all this stuff. Be difficult, be different, carve your own path. These are the ways we are. So we've been in an incredible angelic synchronisation. Causal, celestial, immortal tree of peace, whatever you call and know these dimensions by. This is now we are settling right back into. They want you to build the golden temple of that I am presence, follow the intuitive nudges, honor what you're called to, be unique, be different. It's so important that we do this. I'm going to share so much more about why that is next week. But just know this is the first wave of this moon. And it's a kind of necessary counterpoint at this point in the energies in order to balance the incredible expansion we've been in. But ultimately, it's going to serve it. And it's going to serve the ignition and the stabilization, the continuity of this day 0, day 1 ignition and actualization of angelic mission that we're now capable of and that we're now within. Those grand arcs, that enduring purpose of your energy, all that you're really here to do, to be, to create, and the ongoing actualization of that. So much love. May you have a most beautiful week. And I do hope that this brings benefit, feeling what resonates within this, letting the rest go as leaves on the wind, and may it support and ignite that angelic mission that you hold for the dawn, that power that you are for this world. So much love, and I shall see you soon. Farewell for now.